Ryan Girdusky joins us now. He is of the Clay and Buck Podcast Network. It's a numbers game, a great podcast. Some people are saying it's a big, beautiful podcast. Certainly worth all of you checking out. Breaks down a lot of the data, the numbers. Mr. Girdusky, great to have you with me, sir.
Thanks for having me on. I'm so excited.
I wanted to look. I like to just get this out of the way first and foremost. You know, there's some bootleg Girduskys out there, including CNN's Harry Enton, right? I mean, it's like he's a fine guy. I think he does okay data analysis, but he's a poor man's Girdusky. But he did say yes, sir.
Yes, that's 100% true.
Yes, he's a poor man's Girdusky. We have the original deal, right? We've got the real deal here with Ryan Girdusky. But he's been saying some stuff about the numbers as it pertains to Trump. Let's start this one with cut 21. Here's CNN's data guy, and then Ryan, I want you to explain what's going on here and what you see. Play it.
The party that is closest to your economic views. In November of 2023, it was the Republicans by 11 points. Now it's still within that range, still within that margin of error. Plus 8-point advantage for the Republican Party. How is that possible, Democrats? How is that possible after all the recession fears, after the stock market's been doing all of this, after all the tariffs that Americans are against, and Republicans still hold an 8-point lead on the economy? Are you kidding me?
I don't think it's that surprising. I just think it's interesting that Democrats have to reckon with this. What do you make of the numbers on Trump's support with the economy right now being just as strong as when he got elected?
Well, I mean, Harry lets it out. The recession fears. So yes, there is. What is the Democrats' economic message? I know hating Trump has been their political message, but what is their economic message? What are they focused on aside from keeping Medicare spending and Social Security? I don't ever hear of it. And also, voters are against the retaliatory efforts of tariffs. They don't want to pay higher prices. That's understandable, but they are for the message of reshoring manufacturing. They're for the efforts of trying to bring back economic patriotism. So they're not against the overall idea of it. They just don't want to pay higher prices, but higher prices didn't come. So, of course, Trump's numbers are not that bad. And also, and I think this is a very big point of why Trump's poll numbers are so high right now, no one is talking about Trump in the media. What are they talking about? They're talking about Biden still. They're talking about his mental health. They're talking about what Democrats lied about. So the Republicans are still getting dividends from the bad governance and the lies of the Democratic Party over Biden's administration. That does matter, and they don't have an alternative. They don't have a leader. They have nothing. I mean, it's AOC running around with and Gavin Newsom with his podcast, and what else is there? So I think that they have a lot of problems as far as just what is their message. I don't know what the alternative is.
Now we'll get into, because you sat down with or did an interview, right, with Alex Thompson and Tapper, or just Alex Thompson?
Just Alex Thompson. Alex Thompson, yeah.
Oh, okay. I would have been more amenable to myself than having to listen to Tapper's nonsense. But we'll get to that in a second. First, that is more of poor man's Girdusky, Harry Enton, talking about who looks out. I mean, because if you're a Democrat and you've bought into the Democrat messaging for a long time, or maybe you've been a purveyor of the Democrat messaging, their whole thing is this make-believe that they're the ones that care about the middle class. Here's the latest on the numbers when it comes to middle class and looking out for them. This is cut 20. Play it.
Which is the party of the middle class has been a huge advantage for Democrats. I have polling from NBC going all the way back since 1989 when Democrats had a 23-point advantage. 2016, a 17-point advantage. But by this decade, we already started seeing declines back in 2022 where you saw that Democrats led, but only by 4 points, well within the margin of error. And now in our latest CNN poll among registered voters, which is the party of the middle class, it is tied. This, I think, speaks to Democratic ills more than anything else. They have traditionally been the party of the middle class. No more. Donald Trump and the Republican Party have taken that mantle away, and now a key advantage for Democrats historically has gone adios amigos, and now there is no party that is the party of the middle class. Republicans have completely closed the gap.
Ryan, what do you make of that? Because that's got to be, given the election they just had, the fact that they've also got to contend with this in a broader messaging sense, rough days for the Democrats.
Yeah, they're having this and they're going through it, and they're very publicly admitting that they're going through it right now. They can't admit to the fact that they lied, that Biden's health was so bad. They can't find a leader, and their only message is, "I hate Donald Trump," and maybe that'll be enough to win them back the House. But overall, that long-term vision, there is none.
It's remarkable that this is the situation they find themselves in, and that they've had so little introspection. I mean, they still have things like Gavin Newsom's California pretending that having a guy beat all the girls in the state champion track meet, that this is not like this makes their party look crazy. They can keep pretending otherwise, but to 80% of the country, even people that vote Democrat, 80% of the country look at some guy who now wants to be called AB, who's beating all these girls in a track meet, and says, there's something wrong with these Democrats. And to that end, though, also on the Biden stuff and so you talked to Alex Thompson, who's got this book out now, and we've talked about Tapper particularly with it. By the way, I think that it should have been Thompson solo. I would have been far more
open.
open.
Tell you this is what I think, and he didn't say this, but this is what I think. When you write a book and you don't have a big name, when I wrote my book, I had no social media following. And they said to me, if you can get someone with a name, we'll publish your book. That's what publishers told me when I wrote my book. I think the same thing probably happened to Alex Thompson. I think that he was told, if you can get a name, we'll publish your book. And
I mean, he should have gone with Wolf Blitzer or somebody who's considered a little bit more of a neutral. Yeah, well, nobody would think that Wolf Blitzer wrote a word of it. I don't know if they think Jake Tapper wrote a word of it either, but definitely not Blitzer. That guy, he looks about as confused as Biden sometimes, just being honest. But
he's been going for 40 years on air, so I mean, he's done his time.
Yeah, he's done his time for sure. But okay, so you sat down with Thompson, this book, Original Sin, that's out there. What did you gather from it that was interesting? Like, we already know, yes, they all they missed all the stuff about Biden. What was insightful? And anyone wants to hear the interview, it's on it's a numbers game, Clay and Buck Podcast Network. Go subscribe to Clay and Buck Show, and it'll be right in your feed. But Ryan, what did you learn from it that was interesting, or where'd you get into that was worth talking about?
Well, one, the fact that Mrs. Biden, Jill Biden, I did not know that she was a school teacher, a professor, the entire time she was second lady of the United States. She taught at a community college, and apparently she hated being a politician's spouse, which is not unoriginal because a lot of people hate being politician spouses. But the fact that she went from doing that to being one of the most powerful first ladies in American history and essentially running large portions and being the one who said, no, Joe, you can't drop out. Her transformation, I think, is fascinating. I asked him specifically about how much it went into how much it was considered the fact that the Biden family needed Joe. And I put the idea up there, had Bo lived, which is always the essential question of the Biden legacy and the Biden family. Had Bo lived, was he supposed to be the politician to grant them access so that they continue to live with a lot of economic, flourishment and millions of dollars coming in? Because that's how that entire family makes money. It's political connections. Did Joe have to do this because he needed to bring money in? And apparently now there's reporting that the Bidens are basically broke, that they want Joe out there more because they need a way to make money. They can't do it, I don't know, other ways. So was that the entire premise of why Joe had to run from the family's perspective, is they needed millions to come in every year. They didn't want a Clinton Foundation situation where all of a sudden all the money's just gone and dried up and they have to pay for everyone's, because they pay for the grandkids, they pay for the cousins, the brothers. Everyone lives off the Biden teat. So that was a big, big part of it. Also with the book, the people who even after the debate had come out and said, no, Biden's our ticket, John Fetterman screamed at every Democratic senator. They had a big meeting with Democratic senators, and they said, who is still with Biden? Everyone but 3 said no. And Fetterman got up and started screaming and saying, how effing dare you betray our great president like this? And he was the only one in the room still defending Joe Biden, even with the poll numbers bad, even with everything. So I thought that was fascinating, which alliances remain close to Joe long afterwards.
Now, I have to, first of all, Ryan, that is really interesting, and I hadn't heard that, and that's something that should certainly be better known. Fetterman has been getting a lot of credit because of the stuff he says on Israel from people on the right. And I mean, I don't know how else to say this. Do you think Fetterman just took it personally that people were saying the guy's brain didn't work because of his own stuff? Or why would Fetterman? He just took that personally.
Yes, I think that's exactly what it was. I think Fetterman said, If you were to judge everybody by how their brain operates allegedly, then I wouldn't be here. But to be the most vocal and curse out he cursed out Chuck Schumer. He cursed out everybody that you betrayed him, that you betrayed Joe Biden. And he was the only one in the room. He stood by himself, so I give him credit for that. But it was an explosive scene. So he talked to Alex Thompson about that, which I thought was fascinating, how he was the sole voice to stand with Biden when they said, hey, you're going to lose New Jersey. Fetterman said we ride with him till the very end. And everyone else at that point was trying to, get him to drop out. So that was really interesting. I think it's fascinating that right now Joe Biden's team is still leaking information. Before this came out yesterday, before the debate, Biden had a 1.5% lead in Minnesota and Virginia. That was before the debate. Had Biden been on the ticket, it would have been, not 1984 landslide, but 1988 landslide. It would have been a serious contention where New York and Illinois would have been in close single digits, and New Jersey would have just been gone. So I think that right now, they're rather than looking for a leader, looking for a message, looking for something, they're still kind of sitting there and blaming each other and who gets to inherit the throne of a dead party. That's fascinating. But I will say one thing. I think if they did a poll, they did a study, Democrats did, what is the message going forward? Ezra Klein has this stupid book out about abundance and all this stuff. Didn't respond at all. Voters didn't care. They still want a populist message. I think if I was advising a Democrat, what they would be doing, there's the big, beautiful bill that's coming out. There is a provision in it that forbids states to sit there and enforce AI technology, any enforcement of AI reforms, any AI development, anything. It prevents states from even enacting any of that or any protections from AI. That's what they should be jumping on right now, because that's where the fears are. That's my next episode of the podcast. It comes on Thursday on A Numbers Game, is about the genuine fears of AI and job loss. And the populist backlash from that will be as severe, if not more severe, than immigration itself.
That's really interesting. Go check out It's a Numbers Game on the Clay and Buck Podcast Network. Ryan Girdusky is the host. Ryan, before we let you go, quick one, kind of a lightning round question here. Who's the most powerful Democrat in America right now?
AOC and Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders number one, and then AOC's number two.
Wow. Bernie Sanders and
Bernie's
AOC.
number one for sure.
All right. Ryan Girdusky, always insightful. Good to have you on, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you.